Loans have the power to shape nations. They can build cities, expand roads, open schools, and create hope for millions, yet behind every loan lies an invisible weight that can last generations. Governments borrow to grow, to compete, to create a better life for their citizens, but repayment is not simple. Debt carries influence, obligations, and choices that can quietly reshape a nation's future. Every investment comes with a cost, and the cost is not always visible. Countries seek progress quickly. Resources are limited, ambition is high, and the pressure to act now is immense. Borrowing seems natural, a way to bring development faster than what domestic resources can achieve. On the surface it looks simple: borrow, invest, and repay, but the reality is far more complex. Loans grow, interest multiplies, and before long nations find themselves trapped in cycles of borrowing to pay off old debts. Even countries that were booming after a few years of growth have found themselves repeating these cycles when initial optimism met rising obligations. Every choice becomes a balance between immediate survival and long-term independence. Institutions like the IMF and World Bank step in when nations face economic crises. They provide funding, advice, and a pathway to stability, yet every loan comes with conditions that can shift policies and priorities. Structural reforms, austerity measures, and economic mandates can slow growth and redirect resources. What starts as support can slowly turn into reliance. Some nations historically have managed these conditions well and stabilized their economies, but others have struggled under repeated loan obligations. Nations may feel relief in the short term, yet face limitations in how they govern and invest in their own future. Around the world, many countries have experienced this cycle. Highways, ports, and public buildings rise, but essential services struggle. Funds meant for citizens are redirected to satisfy creditors. Every policy becomes a careful calculation between paying back obligations and investing in the people. Citizens rarely see the invisible hands guiding these choices, yet the effects shape every aspect of life. Over decades, similar patterns have appeared in multiple regions where debt initially promised growth but gradually limited economic freedom. Debt decisions echo for decades, influencing the opportunities and freedom of entire populations. Debt is not the enemy, it is a tool. When used wisely, it can accelerate growth, create opportunity, and transform lives. Mismanaged, it can constrain nations and limit choices for decades. The difference is understanding, foresight, and planning. Countries that comprehend the mechanics of global finance can borrow, strategically invest effectively, and turn potential limitation into lasting progress. Knowledge becomes the ultimate safeguard against hidden traps and invisible chains. Every loan tells a story of ambition, strategy, and consequence. Every number represents human aspiration and global interconnectedness. Choices made today echo for decades, shaping education, healthcare, infrastructure, and the lives of millions. Citizens who understand these forces gain insight and influence. They can demand transparency, contribute to policy, and help their nations navigate the fine line between dependence and empowerment. Awareness becomes the key to independence, growth, and long-term stability. Debt can feel like chains that bind, but it can also be a ladder that lifts. Borrowing is not inherently dangerous, misunderstanding it is. Nations that approach debt with clarity, foresight, and strategy transform it from a trap into a tool. What seems like limitation can become opportunity. What feels like obligation can become empowerment. Debt is a story of ambition, choices, and consequences. Understanding it allows nations to borrow, not merely to survive, but to thrive and create a future where hope is earned and progress is real. Every generation faces decisions that shape the world they inherit. Loans can provide opportunity or impose silent constraints. The difference lies in how nations respond to the challenges of borrowing. With knowledge, discipline, and strategic vision, debt becomes a force for growth, not a chain of limitation. Countries that learn these lessons gain freedom within structure, resilience within obligation, and strength within dependency. Every choice matters, every loan matters, and understanding the rules allows nations to turn potential weakness into enduring power. The world of debt is also a story of timing and opportunity. Every decision to borrow or invest carries consequences that unfold over years, sometimes decades. Nations that study patterns, anticipate challenges, and act with foresight can use debt to accelerate growth, strengthen institutions, and create lasting prosperity. Those who fail to recognize the hidden currents often find themselves repeating the same cycles, trapped by choices made long before they were ready to face them. Even economic booms that seemed permanent in the past have often been followed by years of repayment and adjustment when early optimism ran into unseen obligations. Power does not always come from wealth alone, but from understanding the systems that govern it. Knowledge of how loans, interest, and global finance interact gives nations the ability to plan strategically rather than react blindly. When leaders and citizens are aware of the mechanisms at play, they gain control over what seems uncontrollable. debt transforms from a silent threat into a guide for careful decision-making, a tool to build independence, resilience, and opportunity for generations to come.